Back in 2009, James Cameron gave us Avatar. This movie was the talk of the world. Everyone went and saw this movie back in 2009. I think I saw it at least twice in theaters. I know I saw it once in IMAX when it just got re-released. But in 2009, it was everywhere, and everyone was wondering, we're gonna get a sequel. 13 years later, I am here to tell you I've finally seen a new Avatar movie. Avatar: The Way of Water stars Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldaña and is about Jake Sully lives with his newfound family formed on Pandora. Once a familiar threat returns to finish what was previously started, Jake must work with Neytiri and the army of Na'vi race to protect their home. Now, before getting started, I know a lot of people really don't like that first Avatar movie. A lot of people think it is very much overrated. But I do have to say, when it first came out, I was just in awe of the CGI and the special effects. And I still, to this day, enjoy the movie. I think it's a really just solid movie. And for when it came out, it was everywhere. And now 13 years later, walking in the theater tonight, I was pretty excited to see just a new James Cameron movie on the big screen. 13 years of waiting. James freaking Cameron has delivered a 3-hour epic, awesome sequel that to me is a lot better than that first movie. This movie blew me away in a lot of aspects that really shocked me, but in the end, James Cameron, you just don't doubt. The biggest praise is obviously the special effects and CGI. Nothing can beat this. I sat here for 3 hours in awe of everything. Just everything. The smallest detail on these character designs. All of these blue people walking around. There are so many blue people in this movie. It's ridiculous. And all of them just seem to have their own personality. And all of them just seem so real. And the water, the water scene. Guys, you guys are not ready. Please see this in IMAX 3D the biggest way possible. The special effects are out of this world amazing. I will call this the greatest looking special effects I've seen to this day. I was awe-inspired. The spectacle in this movie is fantastic. The score, the sound mixing, the action scenes. Listen, this last hour of this movie is full-blown action mixed with water, and it's all just awesome. And it's all due to James Cameron's direction. Listen, you can say whatever you want about what he's been saying in the interviews lately, how he's kind of just bragging about saying, hey, I'm a big-time director, this is a big-time movie, go and see it because you know you're gonna. Listen, I know some people think he's a little arrogant, but listen, James Cameron made Terminator 1 and 2, and Terminator 2 is freaking amazing. He made Aliens. He's made 2 of the best top sequels in film history. So I really didn't have doubt about this movie. He delivers. The direction, the blocking, and just filming this scene, everything we're looking at is green screen, blue screen, water in blue screen with a bunch of CGI things happening. He made it come together in a 3-hour runtime while also delivering a complete family story-based movie about protecting family and their home and what's going on around them. And I think James Cameron handled it the best way possible, and I think he truly should be talked about for Best Director in the Oscars. Truly. He did a fantastic job for what he had to do for 13 years. I know we're getting a lot more movies, but for this singular movie, the action scenes, just the sound mixing with explosions and just the movement of these characters and just the blocking and how he sets up this camera, the cinematographer of this movie should also be praised. Technically, everything about this movie is A+ filmmaking in all aspects. When it comes down to the story, a lot of people talk about that first Avatar, how the story is weak. And I think a lot of people are gonna say the same thing about this movie. For me personally, the family concept of Sam Worthington returning as Jake Sully, his main character that we set up in that first movie as a fish out of water, now he's basically the leader of his family and this entire tribe, and he's running things now as a complete blue man running around, and the entire character motivation is different with him having children and his family, and honestly, it worked better for me. The first movie is a lot of just him learning stuff. Going in this movie, the first 30 minutes, it's a little rough, I will say. It gets what you're so just looking at the screen, you're not even focusing on what's going on. It's setting up the first entire act, and I think it's a little bit slow and clunky in the beginning, but I will say Sam Worthington is fantastic in this movie. Zoe Saldaña, she is a badass in the movie. There's a great intense scene between her and this water scene of her in this like tight room and water's filling up. It is a fantastic scene, and her motion capture is flawless in this scene. I mean, there's a ton of people in this movie I want to talk about. I'm gonna step away from the villains. Some people don't know who the villain in this movie is. I will say it's definitely the same type of stuff from the first movie, and I feel like that was a little disappointing. I feel like the villain could have been way more new, fresh, intense. The villain of this movie, villains, is the same kind of villains you've seen in plenty of movies, especially the first one, and I will say it was a little disappointing in that story aspects. But overall, I think the characters are stronger in this movie. Seeing a total plot line of his kids and kind of just going through tween stuff as blue people, it was interesting. There's very much generic scenes of them looking at a pretty girl, them getting bullied, there's a bully character, there's all this stuff, and it can feel very much like, do we need this in the 3-hour movie? Honestly, I just couldn't stop watching the movie where I was like sitting there saying, I'm enjoying everything I'm seeing. It's just a follow and pace that you've seen before. And to me, I think the spectacle outweighs the negatives, and I was enjoying the movie. Overall, this movie really blew me away in a lot of the aspects of just special effects, filmmaking, and what we can see in movies nowadays. And for such a long wait for this movie to look how amazing it looks, the score especially, the action scenes, this last hour, guys, it's a long hour. I'll say it, for a 3-hour movie, this last hour just throws everything at you, but it's awesome. It's just awesome to watch. I was enjoying everything, and I think just the spectacle of this movie is just, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Yes, the story is very easy. It's a very easy story, but you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I really liked watching this movie. I think I loved a lot of things in this movie, and I'm excited to see it again. I think for a 3-hour movie, it flew by enough for me to where I think this is better than the first. I think this is one of the best movies I've seen this year. It's a movie that's gonna break some records and some box office, I believe. And just in the end, you just don't doubt James Cameron. I'm gonna give Avatar: The Way of Water an A-. Again, my nitpicks are really just overall plot is very basic for a lot of our characters and storyline that you've seen in 100 movies and in the first Avatar, and our villains are the same cookie cutter basic villains, and they try something with a certain character, and I don't want to spoil it. The movie comes out this Friday. Be excited. Go see this on the biggest screen. Seriously, I am excited to go see this again in IMAX 3D. Seriously, go see this movie, support the movie, and do what James Cameron said. Honestly, see it again. It's really entertaining, and I'm really curious to see how many people hate this movie. It's going to be interesting to see, because I know a lot of people hate that first movie. Anyway, guys, enjoyed this early movie review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.